Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the Registered Ranching Podcast, where cows, humor, and a little bit of cowboy wisdom collide. I'm Tucker Brown, sharing stories from the ranch and a TikTok every now and then. We're here to keep the ranch in the family and the family in the ranch. So, let's saddle up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're saddled up for episode number 71. It's the Registered Ranching Podcast, live in Throckmorton, Texas. And if you've ever been to the Alsops of the great American fast food of Throckmorton, then you're just right across the road from where we are at the Mitchell's Mercantile. If you hadn't been in here, pretty cool store. But I want to introduce our guest today, who's brought to you by Superior. Go to superiorlivestock.com. It is the superior way to sell cattle. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I say that right. Awesome. Well, Trent Stewart, welcome to the Registered Ranching Podcast and back to Throckmorton, Texas.
Well, Tucker Brown, hello, and thanks for having me.
Man, how about the Mitchells? It's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, yeah, this is a heck of a nice store.
Yeah, to have in Throckmorton has been handy.
It's remarkable.
Been handy.
So.
Perfect for, now I don't have the excuse of that I have to go out of town to get a gift for my wife or my brother. Now there's always something to get here. But yeah, Superior, this episode brought to you by Superior. We've sold cattle on Superior. A lot of our customers sell cattle through Superior. You've been working with Superior for a number of years. What'd you say, 25?
It'd be real close to that. I think I started as a representative in 2000.
In 2000. So, 25, 26 years. But Trent, I've really got to know you more the past few years from sitting on the block with you at our bull sales, which is always fun for me. And also, I remember sitting up there the first time, and I didn't realize how set up I was for success to have you and Doak and to help me as y'all were auctioneering.
Yeah, well, you got a great leader, too. He's no stranger to the mic.
Yeah.
Donald's pretty proficient at what he does.
Yeah, Donald knows what he's doing behind that mic.
Yeah, but it is good to work with Doak Lambert. He's a heck of a colleague and a wonderful auctioneer, and I'm real lucky to be there on that auction block as many years as I have been.
Yeah.
And you've got such a great program. It's fun to sell your cattle on sale day, but it's even more fun to sell your customers' cattle as we get through the year.
Yeah, that you're one of the only few folks that really get to see both sides of that. I mean, you're seeing the seed stock, you're seeing the bull owners, and then the bull buyers, then you're seeing their calves. You probably see their calves more than a lot of seed stock producers.
Yeah, there's a lot of gratification in being in that position. So I get to sell the genetics to them when they're making they're selecting their genetics, really at ground level, and then 6 months later be able to sell the calves and be able to tell the story is what I am really proud about, or which I find a lot of satisfaction in that.
Yeah.
Because hey, I know that they're buying this lineage, or they're buying growth bulls, or they're buying maternal genetics, or high carcass bulls, and I can relay that message going down the road with Superior Livestock through the summers, or in my own livestock market in Madras, Oregon. But to be able to tell that story for those customers, that's really, they're selling the cattle, we're just providing a service. So
Yep.
I feel very, very fortunate to be able to do that.
Yeah, I've never thought really about that from your perspective of how much that could help you sell a guy's cattle, their calves. Because you've seen the bulls, you know if they're, you know a lot of the bull producers, and then you've probably been to their place and been able to see what they're about. And I've never put that together.
Yeah, it's great. And every outfit's different too in the way they do things.
Yeah.
But it's certainly very, very inspiring to see the amount of capital that's been invested in our industry by a lot of men and women that made a lot of wealth in other doing other things in their life, and then they make a substantial investment in making our cow herd better.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat to be able to go to all these different outfits, and whether it's like yours that you're 5 generations, or is it
Number
deeper
6.
that number 6, 6 generations, and to keep it all together and all in the family, just kind of like your motto.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, what an honor to be a part of, but also a story that doesn't get told that often, which is why I love being able to do this.
Yeah.
And like being able to sit down with guys like you who are seeing the whole rest of the country and who, did you fly in from Oregon today or where were you at?
No, I came down to a rep training seminar for Superior I came in Tuesday, was there Wednesday, and we spent the day with some new aspiring reps for Superior Livestock
Nice.
and some old ones too, and spreading the word and trying to lend, some advice and just pave the road a little bit for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, because we all learn something from somebody every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday we had a sale, and then I'm here with you today, and I will go back to Oregon tomorrow.
Whew, that's a lot of moving around.
Yeah, but the life of an auctioneer, I'm kind of like a gypsy, and most of us are. So
Yeah, that's funny. So I've got, for those that don't know Trent Stewart, I've got a few things that would describe you. I know you as an auctioneer. You're an auctioneer for us, and how long have you been auctioneering at our place?
boy, I knew you'd ask me that, and I want to say maybe 10 years.
Wow, has it been that long?
It'd be my guess. Maybe not, but if not, it's close
Yeah.
to that.
I mean, it's all since I've been paying attention to who's selling them. Like you've always been there, so I didn't know how long it had been.
Yeah.
You know, when I was 20, I really wasn't too worried about who was.
Yeah, I can remember coming out. I'd met your father in Winnemucca one year, and then I'd seen him at different, venues in our industry, and always talked, at different sales and so forth about your guys' program.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I had an extra day in Fort Worth, and I just called him and said, "You got time to visit?" And so I drove up to Throckmorton, and we
Wow.
bounced around the pickup, looked at cattle, and had a nice visit. And he said, "Anytime you're coming back through Throckmorton, you're more than welcome to stop by and visit, or we'll put you up." And about 6 months later, he called and said, "How would you like to come be part of our program?" So
That's cool.
yeah, it was
That's
cool.
So yeah, auctioneer, superior rep, which I just learned today. I don't know how I didn't know that you were a rep also, because I just thought you were auctioneering, doing the auctioneer for it, which is great. Livestock market owner, you already mentioned that, in Oregon. Where
Yes,
at in
sir.
Oregon?
It's in Madras, Oregon,
Madras, Oregon.
right in Central Oregon. So we're on the east side of the Cascades.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon's a really diverse state. So I mean, we've got rainforest that everybody thinks of.
Yeah.
Being Oregon, great big trees and all that logging. But you got the coast over there, and then you go through a mountain range that's anywhere from 7 to 11, 12,000 feet. And then you get in the high desert, and we exist around 3,000 feet. And we go as high as close to 5, but it's very arid. We don't get somewhere around 10 inches of annual rainfall.
Wow.
Maybe upwards towards 14 at the very most. So it's very similar to Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado.
Yeah, not many people
So,
think of that. Or
yeah.
I don't. I don't think of that when I think of Oregon.
Yeah, no, it's the high desert, and it kind of touches the Great Basin, and there's some great cattlemen and women that are out there
Yeah.
as well, and some
Yeah.
super cattle. So we're lucky. Our cattle are pretty popular on the east side of the state.
How cool is that? Yeah, we have my, I guess, cousin-in-laws living up there in the Jordan Valley.
Oh yeah, no, I know them well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I figured you would. But yeah, Nicky Gurin and him showing me the pictures of all those canyons and stuff that's rolling through.
Isn't it majestic?
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy.
was like-
It's big country. When
It-
they
it
say
is.
big country. Yeah. Yep.
But also a family man, been married 25 years, got 2 kids.
Yes, sir.
So it's an honor to have you here today. And with all the traveling that you get to do, I kind of want to get into what cattle are making customers money today. What are making ranchers money? I mean, it's a great time to be selling cattle.
Yeah.
Historic highs. You've been able to see cattle all across the country, repping a lot of cattle. What are you seeing? What are some points that you're seeing as a sales rep that's helping people sell their calves?
Well, the British breeds are selling very, very well, as long as there's some British base to the cattle.
Yeah.
And I understand that they have to be acclimated to your country. I mean, you are witness to a lot of really extreme heat and humidity, and the cattle need to be maybe crossbred in certain portions of the region. But I would say British base. Now, whether you cross that with a Continental of Simmental or Charolais, As long as we keep plenty of carcass merit in the cattle and good functional cows, it works for the rancher, and I think, number one, that makes them money, because you have to have that functional cow first. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but as far as a marketer goes, just a very high quality grade of meat. I sat in on a meat scientist meeting with a very big grocery chain and some packers. And when we went through, we've been trying to achieve a higher carcass grade, in the cattle as choice or prime. And if you look at where we were, I don't know, 20 years ago, we were at 60% choice, and now we're over 80.
Yeah.
And I think the new story will probably be we're 80% prime maybe 10 years from now, the way that it's going. Because there's some British Angus outfits that have an exceptional amount of marbling in them. I know you're very close to one out of Kansas.
Yeah.
And they're doing putting a lot of carcass in the cattle. And these packers recognized when we went through COVID, I guess is what I'm getting at, that when they couldn't take that high-end meat to the restaurants and sell it because everybody was shut down, they started selling it in the grocery stores. And they realized that there was this huge palate, for this high-grading beef. They developed a great palate for it and wanted prime, and were willing to pay for it. And so at that point, it's like, that was the turning point that they told me, that all of a sudden, we can sell this, and this is what people are going to demand. The select carcasses were no longer, leaner and healthier, and, and there's a lot less of them now, and so the select and choice spread is very, very tight, just because we have almost eliminated them, with exception of the grind.
Sure. Purely because of supply and demand, you're saying on that.
Yeah, and there just isn't. We've just impressed or improved the quality grade so much that there's lesser and lesser select carcasses.
Yeah.
And if you look at like feeding cattle, April used to be the high in the fat market. Now it's May and June. And we're in the middle of May, and we're selling fats for 226, I think. Yeah. 225 or 6, and that's straight up. And the grid will take them higher than that, probably, or some of these formulas. But it's just we've gotten to a spot that we're feeding the cattle longer because we want to get the grade out of them, and so that's pushed a lot of these high-performance calves into June and even July now. And so that's becoming the new high for the the best genetics that are out there.
Yeah, yeah. They can take those extra days and keep gaining weight.
Yep.
Wow. That is we started putting a pencil to it the other day of trying to buy. I sell about 80 head a year of fats for halves and wholes.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of meat.
It's been growing quite a bit. Been doing it since COVID, but just took me, 6 years to get to where I could really started with 3 head, did 100 last year, and looking at doing like 80 to 90 this year. And I'd love to do more, but I don't tried to put the pencil to it the other day to buy some cattle and feed them, and I was like, man,
it's a challenge.
That scares me.
Oh, these cattle cost a lot right now.
They do.
They just, a fortune. It's quite an investment. What's your label called?
Just R.A. Brown Ranch beef. Yeah, I just sell it halves and wholes straight from the processor. The customer picks it up, and most of it's out of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I don't ship it, mostly because I don't want to be. Well, it's kind of hard to ship out of Throckmorton because it's got to go one day to Abilene and set, and then it ships out. So it's just I can't count on it.
Right.
But when I'm shipping $4,000 worth of beef, I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I can't let U.S. Postal Service. I can't count on them.
Where'd
to get
they
that
go?
Done right. Yeah. Oh, it's gone. Oh, wait, we found it. You want it? 3 weeks later? No.
Yeah, don't go postal.
Yeah. So but the beef deal's been fun, and I like it since COVID that people have been more interested to know where their meat's coming from, which I think's been good for the consumer because whenever they've heard a lot of things, some scary things like, are hormones good? Or I hear they're bad.
Yeah.
And kind of gives us the opportunity to share on the light the truth that what we do is safe and based on science and the safety of it. We have the safest beef in the world, and whether it comes from the grocery store or whether it comes from that processor that you pick it up at for me, like, it's going to be safe.
Yes, yes. Well, we're lucky to have USDA grading system.
Yes.
And it's very thorough. So,
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate for that.
I love that. You start thinking of what they do in other countries, and I become much more thankful for the safety of our food. Real quick.
Yeah, you want to feel safe about what you're eating, but also as an industry to make sure that they're doing their job so we don't have to combat any bad news.
Right.
That way, we got our hands on it right away too. If
Yes.
there's anything,
If there is.
that comes up, yeah.
Yeah, food. Yeah, it's interesting. I always on social media I'll get some hate sometimes whenever I post, whether it's about whether it's about breeding cows using artificial insemination or transferring embryos or putting in a row grow in the ear or something, about how bad it is. But the fear of the unknown has just been in our consumer because they hadn't been a part of it.
Right. Well, they go to the grocery store.
Exactly,
Most
yeah.
of them. They don't
Yeah.
get to see the whole story, and so it's great. I think they want to know the whole story.
I agree.
If they just let's let them think.
Yeah.
Kind of try to educate. Say, hey, it's everything we're trying to do is not only great for the animals, but great for human consumption too.
And I think it goes back to I know it does, just for what you were saying of how much more choice and prime beef that we have, that our customers like that. Now, you said that during COVID, they found out a lot more that our consumer will buy that at the grocery store. So I didn't know that timeline, or that COVID kind of did that in the grocery store.
Yeah.
That's
It
interesting.
was, almost by mistake.
Yeah.
I went, whoa, this is what they want. And they're willing to pay for it.
And they'll pay for it. Even at all-time highs.
Well, yeah, at all-time highs. Back then, there was a lot of government subsidies going on, too, to try, that maybe afforded them, or some people. Some, it didn't matter, but, hey, yeah, I'll try it. I'll spend a little extra money. But I'm glad that they developed a palate for it one way or the other. So, and then we come into a super tight supply chain because so much of the ranching industry had been starved out or got, we got older and older and older. I mean, the average age is 64 or 65 or what have you, and the kids grew up in it and struggled. I mean, it wasn't a real lucrative business for a long time. It was just kind of like poverty with a view for a lot of people. You know?
Good way to put it.
And so it's good to see, it gets so much better, monetarily.
Yeah.
It's to incentivize a younger generation, but just so many people got out. And in our country, there's a lot. They do things up there, like in that Great Basin and stuff, like kind of an old Spanish way, and they're very traditional, I guess, methods in the ranching industry. And a lot of that artwork has started to go by the wayside, and a lot of these, younger generations didn't learn how to do it, didn't learn how to calf heifers out, and so forth. I mean, there's a select few, like the folks that you're related to up there, that are really good at it. But boy, anybody in between, to build this cow herd in a big hurry, I guess is what I'm getting at, is going to be a challenge, I think.
Difficult.
So,
yeah, I can see why. And then we have, you probably, or you don't have to worry about it in Oregon, but the threat of the screwworm being down here and already kind of having a shortage of labor, that if that were something to become endemic, that labor shortage would get even harder to work with. But back to I want to get into the marketing of those cattle. I feel like marketing is, as a marketer myself, I see the value in marketing much more than I ever have before, especially in cattle. And my dad, you probably heard him say it over and over again, that not marketing your product is like winking at a girl in the dark, and nobody knows what's going on but you. And that's like his favorite thing to say. He thinks it's hilarious.
I do too.
And you can use it. But he's like, you can have the best bulls in the world. You can have the best calves in the world. But if you just take them to the sale barn and don't market them and don't tell them what you've done, what the genetics are, how much they've gained,
Yes.
what to expect.
100%.
then it doesn't matter.
No.
And I think Superior does a great job of market, even though most ranchers aren't marketers themselves. But Superior does a good job of doing that for them, of guys like you who are representing them and knowing those cattle and knowing what could add value to them and how to. I mean, Superior's not new at doing that. They've had, what'd you say, started in
1987.
87.
Yeah, out of Brush, Colorado. There was Jim Odell and Buddy Jeffers, and Buddy was from down here. He's out of Amarillo, and I believe that he owned the livestock market there in Amarillo. They got together, and Jim owned the livestock market in Brush, Colorado. One of them. There was one of two, and they had consigned a set of cattle out of Kremling, Colorado, and they came to the market. And then Jim sold them to a customer that bought the heifers back for some heifer retention, and he took them right back to Kremling. And so the neighboring place, same town basically, after they had made this haul clear to Brush and then right back up there, and he told himself there has got to be a better way, and that's where the idea of video marketing started, at least for Superior Livestock. Then he got together with Buddy Jeffers. Later on, a gentleman named John McKinley became a partner as well, but they went on a mission to go find the men and women that were handling the most cattle that were out there and the most successful marketers or brokers in the industry, and put together a representative base that was second to none. And they had this brand new, innovative tool that was lower stress on cattle, and they could bring so many more buyers together, and really were kind of replacing an order buyer with a representative, because that's a representative's job to show up at the ranch and then put together a like set of steers or heifers that are the same commodity that a livestock market order buyer would do, buying them 20 or 40 at a time, with limited swing weight, and they're all kind of alike kind and so forth. And they started seeing these magnificent receipts, and it became very, very popular.
Yeah.
It was all for forward delivery, whether it was next week or, 6 months down the road. But I think the very first sale that they had was it was in Denver at Teddy's, which was a hotel that was there, and it was what is now known as the bell ringer sale that we have right at the turn of the year. That was when I believe, had their first one, and they had, I think Jim told me, around 20,000 cattle, and he was absolutely scared to death. And last year, Superior sold 1.7 million.
Wow.
So it's a pretty good business plan.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, what an opportunity. And I didn't realize it had been around that long. What do you think has kept? Would Superior have been kind of the main one pushing the video sales, like kind of the main company doing that?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few videos even kind of starting at the exact same time as that inception. I mean, it was, and some of them became over and became part of Superior. And then there were some that went on and stayed competitors, and they're still there today. But Superior had a broader base. They had two offices, one in Brush, Colorado, and they had one in Fort Worth in the stockyards. And Jim had always told me that they needed to have a northern presence and they needed to have a southern presence to be able to relate with their customers. And so they wanted to have an office in both locations. Since then, it's been through, I believe, 2 different owners, and then National Livestock Corporation at Oklahoma City purchased them. And what was neat about that is they're deeply rooted in the industry. They're very, very solvent. They've probably the oldest livestock clearing firm in the United States. And so their reach is very broad. And the investors in it, and I think there's 30 or something, but they're all in agriculture. So the investors are all in livestock production or very close to it. So it's a really neat company, and we're in very safe hands. As you all know, you handle a business that is producing or going through this much revenue right now, the capital wise,
Yes.
is crazy.
Crazy.
And to sell that many cattle, it's pretty important that you're with something that's well vested and just super solvent. And there's been great relations with the Bank of Colorado through forever and ever, and they were also in the feeding industry that has helped build Superior Livestock relationships like with the Dinsdale family, and we're just so fortunate to connect all the dots. Whatever we're doing, but this is a real big business, as you all know, but a very small world.
It is. Yeah, it is. You kind of already mentioned it about the relationship part, but how the cattle industry, I mean, in the bull business, I know people like to buy from people they know and that they trust. Mm-hmm. And would it be the same way? We don't sell as many commercial calves. Would it be the same way in selling those commercial cattle?
Exact same way.
Yeah.
It's a people business. They're the ones selling the cattle. We're just providing a service. And so you're going to do business with who you like or you trust, which on that point, I've always admired the fact that in your case, in a seed stock setting, that you've got customers that show up. I mean, how gratifying. What bulls do I need to buy, Tucker? Yeah. What bulls, Donald, do I need to invest in? What's the hottest? What's going to fit my outfit the best? Mm-hmm. And have that much faith and trust. This ranch could be 6, 7 generations deep, and it's everything. All that faith for you to tell them what genetics to use, that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's not something we take lightly.
Yeah.
It means a lot to us if
Yeah.
they're doing that. If they put that much faith in the future of their herd, that we know how much people love their cows.
Yeah, and that's why I value your relationship, and if with Superior,
Mm-hmm.
and if you can endorse Superior, to that customer that believes so much in you, that helps us a lot too.
Yeah.
And we sell a lot of cattle that are sired by R.A. Brown bulls.
Yeah, I think that's where the win-win-win comes from. What's the right word? We have a sticker or a stamp whenever those calves, RAB genetics, come on.
Yep.
On Superior.
SPG is what they call it.
SPG?
Yeah, Superior Progressive Genetics.
Okay.
And so when they sell their calves, your logo comes up.
Yeah. Our logo comes up, and our hope is that if our customers can make more money, they see the value in the genetics that they're investing in. So we love connecting them to reps like you with Superior, because you know what the genetics are doing. You've seen the bulls. You've seen millions of the cattle. Probably.
Yeah, probably. Probably. It's been good.
Millions of the cattle, and so if we can do that, if we can get them to a marketer who knows the value of those calves and can clearly communicate that to the buyers, that's a win for us. It's a win for our bull customer, mm-hmm. and then it's a win for Superior, mm-hmm. and the win-win-win.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of my mission, and we always try to find out what we're supposed to do here on Earth. And for me, it was adding value. If I can bridge the gap, and take that message for customers, because I love the livestock industry, especially cow-calf production, but I feed quite a few cattle too. I got that gambling problem of locking cattle up or playing with the CME, and I need to quit because it's so volatile. But, these corporate feeders, they have such a massive job to do. If they've got a 700,000 or 800,000 head capacity yard, or they turn them 2.5 times, a year, and if your job is to procure that many cattle, you don't have time to sit down and study every value-added program, every pedigree that's out there. And so when I make a speech on an auction block, and it always needs to be believable, you tell them what they are. Don't try to oversell a set of cattle ever. If they're legit, tell them they're legit, and that reputation will follow you. And when I start talking about a set of cattle, because they know I sell a lot of bull sales, so I've been fortunate to be involved with the seed stock industry and do both. And when I start bragging on a set of cattle and on the block, I see them. They'll look up and stare right at me, and here comes a bid. And they're willing to take that leap of faith if it's an extra $4 or $5 a hundred, or maybe it's 10, I don't know, or maybe it's just 50 cents to take somebody out, because they believe that, okay, he's been there, done that, he's been to, Brown's program down there, and he's had his eyes on the bulls, knows what he's been buying. It's not, it's legit, and so that's very gratifying to me.
That trust they have in you.
Yes,
To do that.
because they can't. They have 48 seconds to make a decision.
Ooh.
That's kind of we shoot for on our
Every
average
48
lot.
seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
When we're going through the cattle, it's some of these great big sales. So, I mean, they can't. That's a big, daunting task for them to procure that many cattle. So we want to
my
help.
goodness. Of
any way
course.
we can.
Yeah, what an opportunity to be the guy to help both sides. The buyer and hopefully you're the good guy to both of them.
Yeah, you asked me at the forefront of this. What's the hardest thing, or what's one of the toughest things that you do?
Yeah.
Trying to make both people happy.
Both of them.
Yeah, especially in a tougher market.
Uh-huh.
Right now they've been making money, and the cow calf guy's making money, and the yearling guy's making money, so it's a lot easier. But boy, when you get in a little bit more of a stale market, you being an auctioneer you feel a little bit like Gumby.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
So
I could see that at a couple bull sales too. Because I remember I remember a handful of after the bull sale was over, we kind of looked at each other and like, man, that kind of hurt. It wasn't very fun. But customers are happy. Being able to get those bulls for cheaper than we thought we were going to sell them for. And what a tight line you got to walk.
always think about the next year. It's residual business. Your customers are lifelong, partners.
Is that something you talk to your customers about if you're selling their cattle?
In which regard?
Michael and I, we always call it the long game.
Yes. Oh, yes. For sure. Always a long game.
Uh-huh.
Always try to, make people as happy as we can. Just provide that service and make sure that they know that we're trying. And if there's an adjustment to be made, try to make it as fast as possible. I think that's very, very important. Never let anything drag. And if there's anything that needs to be cleaned up, we clean it up just almost right away.
Yeah. For folks who have never sold with Superior, who might be on the fence about it, what are some of those things that Superior does that can help folks market those cattle?
Well, their value-added programs are good. They started originally in the 90s with some vaccination programs, VAC 34, VAC 45. We've all heard about that, VAC 24, and actually, earmarked certain protocols for backgrounding calves or preconditioning the calves. And that added a lot of value to start with because, as the cattle industry, there's bugs and drugs, and as things move and, things mutate all the time, and there's always new challenges out there health-wise with cattle. And so they incorporated that, and then they got into, like you said, some natural programs. I can remember Coleman Natural Beef years and years ago starting. Then Myers doing a lot of business, and that kind of, the evolution went on into of course, that was non-hormone treated cattle anyway, but no antibiotics either. All of those things still to this day making a big difference, But I would say, non-hormone treated or the natural cattle. We've had GAP programs. Now they've got a new one called Raise Well, which is not just like, I shouldn't say that. It's a competitor to GAP, but
Interesting.
like GAP 4, but it is connected to some new meat sales. And there's some new labels that are accepting Raise Well, and so that's kind of brand new, be a competitor to GAP 4, and we're seeing some extra value in those cattle. So, and then, of course, now there's a lot of seed stock operations that are supporting their customers and buying their calves back. I know you were one of them now with Sustainable Beef.
Yes.
And congratulations, and I thank you.
Yeah.
To me, that has really revolutionized our industry because I've been an auctioneer since 1994 and a livestock market owner since 99, and have been marketing for most of my life. And it was tough for a long time to get a lot of leverage in, whether you're selling calves or in the fat cattle world. And since those things started happening and There's establishments that if you were investing in their genetics and they were coming back and supporting you, started blowing the lid right off of the sales because they knew which customers that they needed the most.
Yeah.
And or their calves, I should say, that they knew were going to perform, and they were willing to give a big premium over maybe a corporate yard.
Yep.
I mean, at that time, and then all of a sudden the corporate yards are left short of cattle, and they're like, okay, we're going to have to really venture out. I mean, for instance, I knew yards that just were like just nothing but black cattle. That's all we can have is just black Angus cattle. Mm-hmm. And then they got so high that then they were like, okay, we're going to try these red Angus cattle, and then they're like, wow. These red Angus cattle fed their heads off. This is incredible. And so find me more of these red cattle, but I want them out of this program, and to be able to see that
Interesting.
has been really pretty neat for me because it's been leaps and bounds easier in the last 10 years than it was in the first 20 of my career.
And you think and part of that being the buyback programs?
Yes,
With some more competition and
without question.
yeah. Do you think any of the DNA testing has had anything to do with that?
Yes, that's slow to come to fruition, and I don't know why, because it's really not that expensive.
Right.
Why we're not doing, testing our heifers to find out, just how good they are. I mean,
Or not good.
I like I like phenotype a lot because
Yeah.
I grew up in a livestock market, and I grew up looking at bulls. I mean, when I go to bull sale, I try to look at everyone because I got to sell everyone.
Yeah.
And so phenotypically, and then I cross-reference and go through my book, where a lot of people go through their book and, they're being efficient with their time, and they find the ones that have the EPD profiles that they like, and then they go look at the bull and see structurally how they're fit. But I think to add that other extra component of DNA, super important. And, I mean, just at light speed changes. And,
Yeah.
And for like $20 right now, I think, on a heifer, I think maybe it was 30. But
And there are some. Well, I mean, we're one of them that will kind of subsidize that purchase of DNA testing, and I know there's some other programs out there that'll do the same, which I think is a good thing because then it really puts the seed stock producers' feet to the fire, and being like, hey, well, we believe in our genetics enough that we will help you pay for that DNA test so you can see that it's which cattle are performing. Is it ours? Is it some other genetics that you're using? But thankfully for my dad and my granddad and the phenomenal work they've been able to do with the genetics we have, like we're super proud of and honored to be trusted by people enough to do those DNA tests and figure out how they're going to produce or how those heifers are going to do or what to expect on those steers, which our hope is that gets to you so that you can say, look, here's the DNA. Look at these are how these are expected to perform, which I think is cool.
yeah, and Superior is going to endorse all those things. When they come to the table, they're constantly trying to add value. And I know that DNA right now is like right on the hot seat.
Is it?
Right now. Going into the summer, we'll see more of it. But getting these buyers interested in believing in it is going to be the next challenge and proving it.
Yeah.
And so, because everything's market driven.
Yep.
So we need to make sure there's a premium,
Of course. Of course. Well, you said something. This goes to one of my favorite segments of the podcast. You said this is going to lead us to the hot seat. Hot seat brought to you by Ag Gear. Ag Gears. I've been working with Ag Gears. I've been working with Ag Gear for 5 years now, maybe at least 4. But love the shirts. Pretty much all I wear. You can get a 15% discount. Go online on Ag Gear store and use code Tucker Brown. All caps, no space. 15% off. Got jackets and stuff too. Jackets, T-shirts, everything. But you're going to get to leave today. If you make it through the hot seat, you get to leave with your very own Ag Gear shirt.
It's a test.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
test.
I hope I get one.
I need one of those. Oh, what was that TV show where Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where the lights would come down and it would just music would play. Yeah. I need something like that.
Pressure.
Yeah. So, who is one cattleman you'd love to sit down and have dinner with?
One? I don't think I could.
You can go 3 or group.
Boy, that's tough. I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's always some that
why the hot seats-
that they're a
seats
lot of
hot.
fun to be around. I got a colleague, Jim Davis is always so much fun. Works
Yeah.
for Superior, he's one of their leading reps. But Ralph Wade is great. Got a great friend named Dave Thompson on the West Coast. I love to enjoy dinner with. There's so many people that you can visit with. Tom Hennessy. I mean, there's lots of fun people that we work with.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions cow-calf guys may have about marketing their cattle?
You know, I think if you're asking me where the most money may be lost, or
Sure, we can go
is
there.
it wrong? Not selling them at auction, and I know I'm an auctioneer, and that's my train of thought. I mean, it's stamped into me, but I have witnessed more money left on the table by selling them early, trying to avoid a commission. That commission always gets paid.
yeah.
I mean, the cattle bring way more, than enough to pay the commission. And so it's a great insurance policy. I don't care where you sell them. I mean, you just pick whoever you like working with the most progressive marketing firm, but sell them at auction because everyone's value system is different. And
Sure.
I start calves all the time, and it's like, I wonder what these things are worth. And, let's see, he was 600-pound steer today for $60, and they bring $5, or $4.95. It's like, whoa. $35 or $40, $100 off. Whoops! But some crazy stuff's going on. So make sure you sell them at auction.
What are here's a good one. How important are health protocols when selling?
They're huge. 2 rounds of modified live vaccine.
That's what they like.
Yeah, and Superior has really been an advocate of that. Really pushed that. That's what our buyers want. For efficacy and. It sincerely lowers morbidity and mortality, and they just almost demand it. If we get a set of calves that has not had a modified live vaccine, they're usually 15 or 20 cents back, unless they come off a desert outfit and they're light calves and smaller sales, and somebody just has to have some grass cattle, and then they might, bring closer to the market. But usually there's a very big discount if they don't.
So if they didn't have those vaccines on a 6 weight, what would that dollar per head value be difference if they're 15 cents back?
Yeah, I would say $100 a head.
Wow.
Probably. So, yeah, for $5, I think I'd be filling up a syringe.
Yeah.
Put up the energy to get them in twice, and do it.
Mike, if I told you could spend $5 and get 100 back, would you do it?
Yeah.
You do it? Yeah. Okay. If you said no, I was going to worry about you. I'll worry about you anyway, Mike. But what's one thing smaller producers could do tomorrow to add value?
I would just buy the very best bulls that you can afford. Even if you, formed a partnership with somebody, to buy some really good bulls. Vaccinate, try to tighten up your calving windows if you can. If you're going to wean them, do it and do it right. Make sure that you do it for, honestly, 60 days. We say 45 is kind of a legal wean, but 60 or even better. Cattle change so much, as you well know.
Right.
They kind of look their worst or most stressed out at day 30, especially in stressful times of the year. If you're weaning in October in our country.
Deathtober.
Yeah, exactly. Dead Calf Month.
Yeah.
National Dead Calf Month. So I would say all those things. You could do third-party verification too and try to add some extra value, making them natural or NHTC. And if, and then you could commingle some cattle and maybe pool some cattle together and sell them on the video. So I own a livestock market, but I'm here for Superior Livestock. So I'm going to, you can commingle and put them in a pool and put them on the video.
There you go. If you could give a young rancher advice, or a young man, young woman, wanting to get into ranching, what would that advice be?
I would hitch your wagon to an outfit that was very, very successful and learn as much as you could,
From another ranch?
Yeah, I would. In anything, even like auctioneering. I wish that I had started, well, I kind of did with Superior and hitched my wagon to them and stayed close to them and learned a lot. But if I had just stayed with, just one firm, my advice would be just learn as much as you can from somebody that you admire a lot and is very successful, and just never, ever give up.
What did that look like for you whenever you started auctioneering for Superior? Who were a couple of those guys that you got to hitch on to and learn from?
Well, Ralph Wade, I went to two schools. I went to a school in the Missouri Auction School in Kansas City. And it gave me some fundamentals, and I developed a bid chant. And then I became friends. I had a really good friend named Dave Thompson. Dave Thompson and Jim Pennington were partners in the Famosa livestock market, and they were Superior representatives right when Superior started. And I developed a good relationship with them, and a colleague of theirs, or actually the gentleman that had kind of raised him in the business, or at least Dave, was named Skinner Hardy. Skinner Hardy is an old purebred auctioneer. Shouldn't say old, but he had done it for a really, really long time. And for those of you, I'm sure there's some that know who I'm talking about, the gentleman I'm talking about. He's a phenomenal auctioneer, probably one of the best salesmen I've ever been around in my life. And he could open a sale and make you so excited to be part of it, you couldn't stand it. You couldn't wait till the bull walked through the door. And he could give public address. It was so inspiring.
Yeah.
He sold a lot of Hereford cattle, and he sold a lot of cattle. He sold John Wayne's sale. But he also owned the livestock market in Famosa, California, the Western Stockman's Market. And he put on an auction school. And he said, Trent, I'd like to invite you to come down to our first school. And so, by all means, Skinner, because he was my idol. And it was Skinner Hardy, it was Bob Tallman, it was Max Olvera, it was Jim Pennington, and I think Lee Pitts was there as well.
I didn't know Bob Tallman did did you say an auctioneer? It was an auctioneer school?
Yeah, it was an auctioneer school.
I did not know he did an auctioneer school.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I mean, I got down there, and Jim Pennington said, "Hey, would you run out to the airport in Bakersfield to pick up Bob Tallman?" Well, heck yeah, I'll pick up
sure
Bob
will.
Tallman. I am on my way. So I get up there, and I pull in there, and here's Bob Tallman. He's on the sidewalk there in front of the airport, in front of the terminal, and he's got a white T-shirt on, and he's got a cigarette burning, and a backpack. And I said, "I'm here to get you, Mr. Tallman." And he says, "All right, perfect." And I said, "Do we need to go get your bag?" And he said, "I'm packed." And it was for a week.
With a backpack.
It was in his backpack. I'll never forget it. So
One of a kind.
yeah. Yeah, he was a great teacher, and boy, for public address, I learned a lot in a very short period of time, and auction schools are a week long, but they're really a lifetime. I mean, you learn more sitting on the auction block.
Sure. I can see that. It's got to be, getting hooked onto Superior, what'd you say? You got with them in 2000. You started auctioneering in 94?
Yes, I went to auction school in 94, came back in 95, worked around the Madras livestock market for a while, a few years, and then I went and worked for a gentleman named Dennis Arnzen at Intermountain Livestock in La Grande, Oregon, and worked the country for him, driving around consigning cattle as representative for Intermountain Livestock, and he threw me up there and had me start selling big strings of cattle. That's a very successful livestock market in our country. And that's really, I got thrown in the hot seat, and just grab that mic and let's go.
Yeah.
And so I started developing a lot of the relationships that I have today, clear back then, and doing business with a lot of the same firms and men and women today that I was selling cattle to when I was 25 years old, or earlier than that, 23, I guess.
Wow.
So
That's so neat. The differences in sales have to be interesting. Like from here to where Donald Brown wants to say a word, from what I understand, he talks a lot behind the mic.
well, he's good at it.
He's
He
good,
adds a
but
lot of
then-
value doing it.
Yeah, but I know I've been to a couple of the Gardner sales, and Mark, he doesn't want to say a word.
Yeah.
He just silence.
Yeah.
Just let the bulls sell.
Yep.
What are some of those other differences you've seen at some sales?
I think you just nailed it. I mean, I sell sales with 80 head of bulls, and I sell sales that have nearly 800. And I know owners that like to talk, and some of them that don't want to say a thing, and they're super just like want to be quiet. You do your job, and I'll do mine. I've already done mine for the year. They just kind of feel that way. I mean, everybody's different.
Already prepped them. Huh. That's interesting. I don't get to make it as many sales as I probably should, but I enjoy the two we do.
Well, it's great. It's like a social event to get everybody
Yeah.
together.
I think sometimes I like to think that Rob and Peggy started making it that just so, like, selfish is the wrong word, but like Peggy was such a social person that, and I think that's where I get it from too, is that like, hey, if we're gonna have this, like, let's have some fun too.
Yeah.
Bring in the people and have some good food.
Right. Well, people relax too more, when it's not so rigid.
Sure.
That's one thing I've realized as an auctioneer. I always try to be real professional. But maybe sometimes just a tad bit too rigid. And the older I get and the more that I've done it, the more relaxed I get. And I've got confidence in what I see in the sale ring. And I think that, people have more confidence in me and they like you just to be you. Let's have some fun together today. It's a great industry. We're all in it together. So we're helping each other survive in this business.
Yeah.
And so I'm having more fun now than I ever have had.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, for sure. And more, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I've got more sales than I've ever had. But it's just I'm having more fun doing them now at my age than I ever have before. And I just love the network of people. And you talk about what influences were out there. I talked about Skinner Hardy, but I've got colleagues like Rick Machado that I learned things from, and he works for Western, a competitor.
Yeah.
Because we grew up kind of auctioneering in the exact same era. And there's things that I like that he does, that I've picked up. And maybe I am fortunate enough to do that for somebody else too. But Doak, I learned things from Doak Lambert, this colleague right here that's worked for you guys for a long time. But Justin Holmberg, I mean, we all learn something from each other, and everyone has a different way of doing it. Just try to take just a little bit from everybody and then make your own deal.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I love that. Kind of surrounding yourself with those guys you want to be like.
Yeah, I mean, Ralph Wade, he's huge, he's inspiration of mine and teacher. He revolutionized the bid chant for so many people.
Really?
And to this day, we're better friends than we are colleagues now.
Cool.
I mean, it's equal, if not better. We're just super close friends. But I mean, that guy is a legend.
Yeah.
And he started with Superior shortly after it started, and he's still there. Very dedicated to the company. And he's 80. I think Ralph's 81 years old, and he's put in 8 hours yesterday selling cattle.
Wow.
Yeah, and strong as ever.
Does that get? I mean, as a guy who I count on my voice. Is that a muscle that you have to train, or that gets tired and needs rest? And
Yes, I didn't think so. I did not think so until I was in my late 40s.
yeah,
And then
because I haven't found the extent yet, or like
yeah,
I've had after sale days or announcing football games or something been like a little. I could feel tired, but I have not found that.
Yeah.
The extent of it, I guess.
Yeah, dust, ammonia. These guys that are working in these livestock markets, 3, 4, 5 days a week.
Cattle coming in.
Pretty
and
hard
dust.
on 'em.
Yeah, I could see that.
But there's just certain things health-wise that you just need to do to take care of your throat too, and maybe get a little extra sleep at night.
Yeah.
And drink a little more water.
I did I didn't know. Do you know Cracker Johnson?
I do not.
He's out of Florida.
Okay.
And he does some sales down there, and he's also been I think he's been a ring man for us a time or two. You might have met him once or twice, but he was telling me, I can't remember, it was at Florida Cattleman's, and he was like, well, no, I can't. I was like, can I get you a drink? And he was like, no, I can't have one. I'm preparing for a sale that was coming up, and he was like, if I have that, like, I don't have the voice I need. And I was like, whoa, I've never thought of that.
Oh yeah, I think that these guys that drink straight Scotch or whiskey or bourbon, it'll take its toll on You can listen to some of those old auctioneers that have been doing it for a really, really long time, that drank a lot of that.
Yeah.
They got a pretty gravelly voice.
Pretty gravelly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes its toll. You don't think so, and then all of a sudden it's there. And I kind of had a little of that myself here the last probably 2 years, and I kind of decided to take a little bit better care of myself. And it sure makes a difference.
That's wild. I mean, I guess it's like any other profession. I mean, taking care of what does the business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and just traveling so much too, and trying to avoid getting sick.
Yeah, that would be hard.
It is.
As many hands as you got to shake, and
Yeah. And some say, like, what are you, a hypochondriac or whatever? It's like, no. If my throat goes away, it costs my family a lot of money. So,
yeah.
And I might not get invited back the next year if I miss your sale.
Oh, so true.
You
I
know?
mean, not that was not a threat, but like, if you do miss that sale, it seems like that could open up the seat.
Yeah.
For,
it would.
for somebody else.
And, most of the guys in our industry go, I'm going to help you out this year. And believe me, I'm busy next year.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that. But you never know.
Yeah, sure.
So we all try really hard to make sure that we attend
Yeah,
our commitments.
I can see that. Having oh, here we go. This is we're going to touch on this again. You kind of touched on it earlier, but this is one of my favorite segments. It's called the Bedrock Tough Question. Now, Bedrock truck beds are what we have on our trucks at the ranch. They're actually making me a new one right now that I'm super excited about. But with them being the toughest truck beds, the Bedrock, I'm going to ask you, what is the toughest thing? You already said what's the toughest thing about selling them is keeping guys happy. What's the I want to take it somewhere different. What is the toughest thing? Dang, we've already talked about it. We talked about a number of
Does it have something to do with auctioneering? Like what's the toughest part of selling?
Yeah.
Or which direction are you going?
Well, I guess we talked about the okay, here we did. What's the hardest thing about auctioneering? We'll keep it there because we talked about the difference in as a superior rep and keeping both sides happy.
Yep.
But hardest thing for auctioneering.
I think things are only as big a deal as you make of them. And so when a wheel comes off in the middle of a sale, making sure that nobody else even realizes that there's a problem, and you have to just maintain focus, the market, because it's super important. Auctions are momentum. So we can't lose any of that momentum that you've taken so long to build, and because it might hurt the next ranch in line, right, when we're selling the cattle. So making sure that it appears like everything's smooth as a ribbon, even if the wheels are coming off, and it might be just like technical stuff that I don't really understand, IT stuff, in that situation, or a gate came off in the alleyway, and is laying on the ground out there, just trying to keep everything undisturbed.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, then chaos starts happening. You're on the auction block, and you got your clerk talking to the manager, and they're delivering messages back and forth, and they're in each ear, and you're trying to remember where the bid was and what you're going to say next, because when you run out of steam, and think the auction process starts to slow down, being able to add one more thing, in value. I've always got that can in my mind on every trip that I take.
Wow.
What am I going to say about this set of cattle that I know about? I mean, on this pedigree, say so forth. I looked at the big bull black ink, in the breed type, and I know, that they've been using this bull, and I know what I'm going to say while I'm auctioneering and trying to keep 2 or 3 guys in the game.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that gets to be a bit of an overload for an auctioneer.
Yeah, I can see why.
So, and sometimes I just short out and go, where are we at? Too. But
Well, it is. I've been on the block for 4 years now. This was my fourth sale, I should say. Fourth sale to be on the block. And I feel like I'm just now getting, I remember the first time, I can't remember if it was you or Doak, but there was a bid, but then there was a miscommunication between the two of the ringmen and either you or Doak, and y'all were trying to figure out where the bid was, but y'all just it never stopped.
yeah,
And it kept going. Y'all found the bid, and I was like, they messed up and nobody knows it.
yeah.
But it was fixed. There was a mess up, you fixed it, and nobody knew.
And that's what you need to do as
And
an
I
auctioneer.
was just blown away, like, oh my. I was also really proud that I saw it happen. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I finally know enough to know, or like to see it,
Yeah.
which was cool for me, but also so impressed at how smooth, like the talent it takes to do that, communicate with those guys down
Yeah.
on the floor and clean it up.
Well, it's organized chaos, really.
It
A lot
was.
of times.
That's a
'cause
great description.
Things are going fast. And there's a lot of, like, you're fortunate. There's a lot of people who come to your sale and attend it in person. And a lot of times, heck, there's sometimes where there's a dozen different people trying to bid on the same bull. And so it is a little chaotic, and we really depend on the ringmen.
Yeah.
That ring crew to have that line of communication, in each of their sections. And they're very, very good.
Yeah, they're good at their job.
Most of these, they're professionals.
I remember one time somebody, it was a part of the ranch, and they're like, "Do you want to help be a ring man?" I was like, "No, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to. I don't think I could be, like, I think I could be good at it, but I don't want to do that as a job to where I could get good enough to be good."
Right. Well, it's a comfort level of being
Yeah.
there and kind of up in front of everybody, and trying to communicate with them and defend them too.
Yeah.
When that's my bid, not
Oh, I
his.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Like, y'all kind of bickering at each other, like, "No," and
Yeah.
they're hollering at you that it was theirs, and
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah, it's a good movie to watch. at
it
times.
is. It is. I've definitely learned to enjoy it over the last 4 years, much
Yeah.
more now that I can understand the conversation that's happening, because it can be intimidating. We have customers who are intimidated by it, like buying from an auctioneer and knowing what the price is at in every 48 seconds
Yeah.
and how fast that goes.
Yep. Pressure. Pressure does sell. I mean, it's a very effective way of doing business. You can get a lot of bulls moved in a single day. And if you look at it, Pat Goggins used to always say, the highest commodities or the most valuable commodities that are out there are all sold at auction. Doesn't matter if it's jewels, cattle,
Really?
timber. Yeah. I mean, real estate. A lot of times the most valuable commodities that are out there are sold all at auction.
Well, this will take me to one of my favorite segments of the podcast. If you didn't know, I've got a few favorite segments. This one's brought to you by American Hats. You know anything about them?
I do. They make a great hat. That's the hat I wear.
They do. I do.
In fact, I was there yesterday.
Do you go to Best Hat Store?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. See-
Ryan. Saw Ryan.
Saw Ryan.
Yeah.
So I just got, this is my first straw American hat. I got my first straw, my first felt. How long has it been, Mike? A month?
About
That we got the hats?
two.
Huh?
I think almost 2.
Almost 2 months?
Right when
Well-
Dallas arrived.
Yeah, that's right. With brought to you by American Hats, and this is where it gets to become the Trent Stewart show.
Oh.
You get to become the host, and you get the question or guide where the conversation.
How could I
goes.
paint Tucker in a corner? I want to get some really creative answers. No, I'll have to think on that for a minute, but talk to us about, Tucker, if you would. You raise several different breeds of cattle, and you have forever. And maybe tell us about those Red Angus, Black Angus, your Sim Angus. I know that you had Hotlanders. There's some other breeds, I think, throughout the years. And maybe a little bit of history on those breeds, and then maybe talk to us a little bit about Black Angus, Red Angus, and what the temperature is at R.A. Brown right now between the two breeds.
I kind of feel like I'm talking to Tom Brady about football at the moment. Like that you would know that better than I. But
Boy, I wish I'd made his money.
Wouldn't that be nice? So my dad, he says he's raised 17 different breeds in his lifetime on the ranch.
Wow.
For me, it has not been 17, but Rob was a big believer in crossbreeding, and so when he started doing Hereford, Brown Swiss, he wanted more milk and brought in some dairy type cattle. He used some Sinopole from the Virgin Islands. We've used a little bit of Akushi. We've used a little bit of all those 17 breeds have been crosses between a lot of different breeds. But once the market kind of changed, probably around those 80s and 90s when EPDs came out. I guess you got to witness the whole change of it, but from more towards those British breeds and more towards the carcass quality rather than like a double muscle Belgian blue. And it did kind of take us away from crossbreeding that my granddad loved so much, and now we've got a ton of, straight Angus or straight reds or different types of cattle. But yeah, since the 80s, we follow what the customer wants to buy, and if that's a purple polka dotted Simmental, we're going to try to breed it. And my dad always likes to say, he's like, I like to raise what my customer likes to buy. And a lot of people in the cattle business raise what they want to raise rather than what their customer wants to buy. But the black and reds we have both because we believe in both, and of the black and red Angus, and they've been separated for so long. In the U.S., the American Angus Association is the only Angus association in the world that will not accept red Angus into it. You look at over in Europe, you look over in Australia, they accept both black and reds. So we have a little different rules, I guess, than the rest of the world. But they've been separated for so long that now we can cross the black and red Angus and it's not hybrid vigor and it's not crossbreeding because they're still the same breed. But we do get better production, longer or better fertility, kind of like what crossbreeding gives us. But black and reds, we believe in them both. We love what Angus can do and how far they've come with carcass and calving ease and docility. And then we talked a little bit about it before, about how the red females are a hot topic right now.
Ooh, boy, they are. They certainly are. Like at Superior, all of us auctioneers vie for pole position, or like when we make a change, and usually try to make one on a red Angus set of heifers.
Really?
Yeah, especially in a hot market. People are like, heifer retention's going on. They're super fun to sell. It's $5 100 jumps at a time, and they'll outsell the steers by about $20 or $30 a 100 sometimes, and super fun product to sell.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad that there's that under the hide is becoming more important all the time, which I think has helped the red Angus breed, because there is that production, there is that marbling, there is that docility,
heat tolerance.
There is the heat tolerance and the maternal traits. One difference I've seen and it's just, I don't think there's any data behind this. This is just what I see, is that there's a lot of people who will keep a black cow because she's black, and there are not a lot of people who will keep a red cow just because she's red.
Right.
But they keep her because she's
good point.
She's got a good udder. She's got good feet. She's a good mama. There's a lot of people who.
That's a good point.
She's a black cow. Her calf's going to bring more. I don't care if her udder looks like that. So I think that has helped the maternal traits of the red Angus breed.
Yes. Great point.
And I don't know if it's true or not. It's just
I think
anecdotal.
That's pretty good common sense, cow common sense.
Sure. But yeah, I love the mixture of the two. Some of my favorite, you've sold those black red bulls for a long time for us. Still, it is wild. We've been selling them for over 20 years, and still people are like, what is that? A red, black what?
Yeah.
A black red who? What color are the calves? It always brings up so many questions. Seems like you have to be on one team or the other. You're either a red Angus guy or a black Angus guy. But we like them both because they both do good things.
They do. They do good things. And it's going to be pretty interesting going down the road now. There's a stigma of can't have carcass and maternal at the same time. Just can't happen. It's not, the guys up north, they were pretty adamant about it. We're gonna keep everything in moderation, the carcass figures in moderation, the growth in moderation, because it's the only way we can grow, great feet and legs and maternal and fertility and all that. And now we're starting to see these cows that can go out there in big country and still get, bred and still have calves that are 90% choice or better. And with this infusion of money in this market, I think we're going to see a lot more of it, because they're going to show up. When I'm seeing cowboys give $20,000 for bulls, wow.
Yeah.
They're buying the bulls they want.
Yeah.
Now that is what's so cool. Our industry it's going to be nuts how good the cows get, I think.
I hope so. And it's wild to think that we can get so much better. because we were already at 85%. I mean, imagine you just started with Superior in 2000, and they told you, like, hey, we're going to be 85% choice plus here pretty soon.
Yeah.
You know, you might not have believed it.
Well, at the time, I wouldn't have known what that meant, probably. All I wanted to do is sit up there and auctioneer.
Just let me sell them.
Yeah, just let me have that mic.
Oh, that's funny. You done with your segment?
Yes, I think
Done
so.
with the segment,
I
okay.
didn't come up with any challenging
No, that's
questions
good.
for you. I
That's good.
apologize.
The Trent Stewart Show.
Yeah, it's over. Too dry.
You ought to look into that. The Trent Stewart Show. It's got a good ring to it.
Ooh, I don't know.
You know enough folks.
I don't
now.
know what time of day that'd be good.
What time of day.
I don't know what time of day it'd be good, Tucker. First thing in the morning or in the evening? I'm not sure.
Either way. Yeah, but that brought to you by American Hats. Love American Hats. And the best hat store. What a cool spot, huh?
Really cool. That's great service. That's unbelievable. I went in there yesterday. There's 40 people in there. I almost got claustrophobic. They were banging these hats out of there, getting these things shaped up. Like, I just kind of stayed out of the way, and they did literally. I bet you they sold 25 hats in an hour.
It's amazing what they do.
Whoa. Yeah, great store.
Yeah, you got to go. Footwear Stockyards. And they're right by Fenolio Boots, who I work with too. Love those guys. So I get the best of both worlds whenever I go up there, right by each other. I get to walk into Fenolio, walk over to Best Hat Store. I feel like they should be in the same building someday.
Yeah, I haven't been in the boot store. I need to go.
I like Fenolio. Good
I'd
people.
spent enough money yesterday. I need to get out of there.
Hey, tomorrow's a new day. So what does it look like, Superior, as a rep? Where do you see Superior in the next 10 years?
I think that they'll maintain. I think that the company is focused on the industry. It is honestly a successful enough company that I think that their core values are for successful livestock production. I want to be there for the industry and for their customers. I think that they're very innovative. The IT work that's there and the technology is second to none. So I think they'll just be more efficient. And probably they have the revenue to advertise and endorse a lot of programs as good or better than anybody else. So I think that they do a great job, now, and I think they will continue to do that through they're constantly trying to recruit and find new talent every day. And
As far as reps?
as reps,
and
as in the
help.
IT work, anybody who works in the office, promotional things, if they recognize value, they're going to do their utmost to hire that person. And they know and understand they need young people too. So if owning a business, being a business owner myself, I'm in a position now where I really enjoy trying to surround myself with good people. And I think that's what makes you successful. And I think that is a big part of their mission statement. There is a gentleman named Les Schwab in our country. It was a tire center, phenomenally successful. He had a business plan. There's hundreds of Les Schwab stores in the Northwest. He came to me, and he grew up in a logging camp in Mitchell, Oregon. And he said, Trent, and he's since deceased, and they've sold the company for a lot of money. It's very, very successful. But he said, you make everybody around you successful, and you'll be successful. I've never forgot that. And he said that to me personally. And I think that is a really good mission statement, and I can see that in the reflection out of Superior Livestock in what they're doing today, trying to incorporate themselves with the best, youngest talent that they can find. And so I'm proud to work for them. And they've treated me very, very fairly and well. And I love the way that they promote things. And if you come to them with an idea, they're going to explore it. And if it's, they think that it's going to add value for the industry, they're going to go after it and invest in it.
Love that. Love that. And I love, man, I wish more people would take advantage of the people business that the cattle industry is, and getting to know the reps like yourself, or there's a lot of reps.
There's 480 reps, I think.
Wow.
And we had 6,100 consigners last year.
Wow.
We feel very, very humbled and gratified to be able to help them merchandise their cattle.
I wish more people would communicate with guys like yourself, the reps. Because my uncle who sells his cattle through Superior, he always talks, maybe a couple months before the sale of like what's selling good right now. What can I do to my calves for them to
Yep.
be that top ringer, that tops the sale. How can I market them between now and then? Do we need to hold off on selling them, or do we sell them, at the next sale in 2 weeks?
Yeah. Rob A. Mm-hmm. Yep. I've got to sell his calves. I'm always close by usually.
Yeah.
Or the yearlings, when he sells them. But they are a hot commodity there. They're super fun to sell. That's a perfect example. I love knowing what he gives for bulls and that can testify that he literally buys the very front end of your Angus bulls.
Yes, he does.
And so it's fun to tell that story. But yeah, as busy as we all get, it's so important to be personable and to help these reps. And then you've got this big roster of reps that are out there that it's their job to take care of their customer. And it's so important to do those herd visits and make them feel important, because every consignment is very important. And we need to cater to that. And it's just as busy as we get. And sometimes when you get this busy with 1.7 million cattle that we've sold, it's so important that we still stay real humble and just stay kind of grounded and make sure that we give everybody, like I said, we're providing a service and keep it a people business. Make sure that they know we care about them.
Yeah.
And I think that as a business owner, not my business, I work with the business, but I think that is a huge lesson for all of us that we need to pay attention to. All your customers, being able to talk to them about, their own personal lives too. What's getting them down the road today, what happened yesterday, and what are you looking forward to tomorrow? All those things are super important to have that friendship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because just like you said, whenever we're looking for that win-win-win. Yeah, when that happens,
it makes business more fun.
Yeah.
It makes life better.
Absolutely it does. Well, life advice?
Don't ever give up.
Don't ever give up.
Yeah, I think that you stay with something and it gets tough and rocky at times. And just, if you love something, stick with it. And just persevere. Everything will work out the way that it's supposed to. But I think that by two mottos: never do anything that you couldn't tell your family about, and just never give up. I mean, when you love something, just persevere, and it will come around and pay dividends, I think. At least it has for me, because there was times I wanted to quit. You get discouraged auctioneering, or with my business buying that livestock market. It took me a long time to get it paid for, and I'm so glad that I didn't give up now. As it's good for my family, and I look now, I'm very proud to have a son and a daughter and a wife of 25 years, and there's lots of people out there that can testify that it's not that easy all the time, but if you both just stay stubborn, it'll be okay.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Well, if there was something that, superiorlivestock.com, they can look up the rep or their closest one, or maybe they already know one. But summer runs are about to start, huh?
They are. Boy, they're sneaking up on us fast. We've got a sale coming in the Corn Belt Classic. We have a sale every 2 weeks. Just had one yesterday, but Corn Belt Classic is coming up in June. And then we'll be followed by, and it's in South Sioux City, Iowa. And that's a neat one, because that's one of the only sales that we actually took cattle to the buyers, because that's a huge feeding corridor.
Yeah.
The rest of our sales, we went to the sellers, went in their neighborhood.
Yep.
So the next one's in Steamboat Springs. We have this huge battery of calves out of that region, out of Colorado and surrounding states. And that's a week-long sale. It's one of the biggest sales, too, which started as a vacation for Superior. Jim Odell he got together with some reps, said, hey, let's just go up and all of us get together and hang out in Steamboat for the weekend. And then they did the next year and said, why don't we have a sale here? And then it turned into 250,000 cattle in a week.
Wow.
Wow. And so then after that, we go to Winnemucca, out to the Great Basin, and I sell a lot of cattle there. The lion's share of the cattle I sell are in Winnemucca. and a lot of their contemporary groups around me, in Nevada, Idaho, Oregon, Montana, and so forth. And then after that, we're going to go to Sheridan, Wyoming, which is another great spot in the world, in the Bighorns. And it's a week-long sale. And then that'll pretty much wrap up the summer run, and we'll have Labor Day sale in September. But, yeah, we're getting ready to get on the road.
Yeah, you are. You're going all over.
It's fun. We go to some pretty great places.
Yeah, I may have to ease up to Steamboat.
Yeah,
For the
should.
sale. For the sale, of course,
Well, yeah, right. And the fresh air
Yeah.
at 10,000 feet or whatever it is. But you should make it to Winnemucca one of these days. I remember your dad showing up out there.
Did he?
Yeah. I mean, you go out there, and Aaron's probably won't be there because they sell with our competitor, but Skinner's will be around.
Hey, there you go.
The guys that you do business with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's for the customers.
Yeah.
I just need to tell Dad.
Yeah, they'd love it. You better tell me, commit to it right now, Tucker.
There it is. Right. We need to shake hands.
Okay. We want you there if you can make time.
Yeah,
It'd
of
mean the
course.
world to Superior and your customers in that region.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be awesome to see you.
That'd be fun. Mike, we're going on the road.
We're hitting the road.
Going to Winnemucca. Never been.
It's a quaint little desert oasis.
Desert oasis, yeah.
Yeah. Cow town and mining town. And, yeah, it can get wild and western out there.
Well, Trent, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, I know you flew here just for this, not for anything else, not for your training you had the other day.
This
or anything.
was the core reason why I
This was
showed
the
up.
thing, to Throckmorton, Texas. Throckmorton, America.
Tucker, I've had the opportunity to work for your dad, and then, like you said, in the last 4 years, you've been on that auction block, and this has been really, really nice to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, agreed.
Because that's a really busy day, right?
It
You
is.
get
Yeah, we
so
don't get
many
to
things
talk too
going.
much then, do we?
Exactly.
Just enough to be able to laugh a little bit as you were going off and on.
And you have a wonderful mother. I loved her book that she puts together, the catalog and
Oh,
the
yeah.
pictures. Wow. That is absolutely Kelly Brown.
She's good
You
at
do a
it.
great job, and you're always so cordial, and you've been a good friend.
Isn't she good at that? She's
Yes.
got some big shoes to fill.
Yes, you do.
My goodness. Well, before you go, and I don't know if this is a taboo question to ask auctioneer or not, is there like a chant for someone who's inspiring? I'm not inspiring, but if there's someone who's inspiring to be an auctioneer, do you have like a practice, what's the right word? Like a practice chant you use that you slow down and use?
Yeah, I use bidder now. $1 bidder now, $2 bidder now, $3 bidder now, and just speed it up. And you
Yeah.
kind of learn that. And that's a Ralph Wade thing. It makes auctioneering really easy. There's a lot of different ways of going. There's guys that are self-taught that sound outstanding. And then there's a lot of us that helped us, our chant. And then it gets morphed a little bit, and you modify it to fit
Make it
what
your
you
own.
do and make it your own. But that's a really good core chant. But there's so much more to auctioneering than just bid calling. I mean, recognize the value and who you're selling them to, and who wants which commodity or which kind of bull, and the value, understand the value difference in one bull versus another, or feeder cattle, and those speeches, and maintaining those relationships with buyers. Auctioneers are out there, if you're listening or interested at all. The bid chant is literally, in my opinion, maybe 40% of your job. 60% of it is salesmanship. And on and off the block. You have that auction block, maintain those relationships with your buyers. Find out
That kind of
what
keeps
they,
popping up, that personal thing,
Yeah.
knowing
yeah.
people. Or getting to know people, I should say. Not knowing them, but getting to know people.
Yes. Has been for me.
That's awesome.
So
Well, where are you off to next?
I'm going to go home.
Heading home.
I'm going to go home.
Back to Oregon.
It's been 4 days, yep. And I'm going to go through an extensive remodel, and I am gritting my teeth. I'm going to be in a camp trailer with my bride
Oh, man.
for 6 months. You want to test a 25-year-old marriage.
Yeah.
Well, they're tearing this house down to the studs.
Woo.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yes.
Hey, what a pleasure it's been, Trent. Thanks for coming. Good to get to know you a little better, too.
Thank you,
And
Chuck.
travel safe. But, hey, you've been listening to the Registered Rancher Podcast, brought to you today by Superior. Go to superiorlivestock.com. Get to know your rep. You can find him. Use you as well. A lot of good folks out there. But thanks for tuning in. Give us a 5-star review. Really helps out the show. Go to registeredranching.com. You can get you a shirt. Oh, I need to get you your Ag Gear shirt before you leave.
Yes,
Figure it
sir.
out. But hey, don't forget, God bless. You stay classy. Ranch on them.